Go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us what you do.
Hi, everyone. I am Trish Lynn, and I support women who have been in toxic relationships to grow their businesses right here in the online space.
So, how did you get into doing that?
So, I have a background in content and content marketing, and from 16 years of experience in a toxic relationship, I learned how those pieces really came into play with my own business and in the income that I was generating. So, really bringing awareness to the toxic relationship piece and the business piece, and the fact that, when you've been in a toxic relationship, when you come out of it, you're a shell of a human being. You don't know who you are anymore. Your self-worth, your self-confidence, actually having a voice and saying the things that you want to say, all of that has been diminished from that relationship. So it's really bringing all of those pieces back in and having a voice, saying what it is you want to say, especially when it comes to your content, and not fearing what other people are going to think, what other people are going to say. Am I going to be judged for saying this? Or are people going to think differently because of me wanting to actually say this and speak what's on my mind? So really just combining the two pieces, there's such a connection. We know there's a connection between your life and your business, but a lot of times that traumatic experience from the toxic relationship is overlooked and it's not seen as a piece that's affecting your business. So really just bringing the awareness to, this is what happened, and it's okay to acknowledge that, but it is coming into your business. If you're not saying the things you want to say or showing up the way you want to show up, speaking to or feeling worthy of working with the clients that you want to work with.
I love that because I think a lot of people don't realize how relationships can affect business, unlike prior relationships. In fact, business really is a relationship thing. It's not just about money, it's about the relationships that you create.
It's well, and your content creates and starts the connection with a lot of those relationships. And we know right now the online space is about authenticity. If you're not really saying what it is you want to say, chances are you're not being seen or heard in the capacity that you want to be seen and heard, because you're still dimming who you are out of fear. And it's being able to bring all of these pieces to the surface, heal them, and say the things you want to say. Yeah, sometimes it's going to feel scary hitting that send button. But once you do it and you continually do it, it builds up that confidence. And you're like, I got this. What was I worried about? For me, when the trolls come out, it's like, yes, I made it. I'm making enough noise. I'm being seen. I'm being heard because I'm getting negative feedback.
Mm. Did you find that getting out of a toxic relationship, you had additional challenges with your networking? And then how did you overcome those?
So when I first got out of the relationship, 2 years ago, December 1 was 2 years. So I didn't network. I wasn't really networking. The first 6 months, not at all. Month six, I did start networking again. Um, but I was shy. I was still hidden because I was still doing so much healing. So while I felt like I was showing up, I wasn't really showing up. And this goes for a lot of women who have been in toxic relationships, because you can show up every single day on social media and not be seen because you still have that fear of what if. So it was a lot more deeper healing. It wasn't actually until July of this year that I started to show up at the capacity now that I am showing up, because I did all the healing work and I did it alone, which is the hard part. I wish I had someone to guide me through the process, but I did it alone. When I first left, I did join a mastermind, but there wasn't the experience of what I had been through. So, well, what I had been through was acknowledged. There was no healing to support that in growing my business, if that makes sense.
Yeah, one of the things that I found with masterminds, though, is sometimes when you join them, you can meet healers in them who
Yeah.
um talk about their offers, and I ended up buying a couple offers from that. which did help.
Yeah, so for me, there was one, I mean, we were a close knit group, but, I would share my experiences. And to me, at this point, my experiences were normal. I hadn't even actualized the fact that what I had been through wasn't a normal experience. So, that was really brought to my attention of that's not like, and literally there, I'm telling a story like that's not normal. Like what are you talking about? But there was no steps to move forward from it. And the healing pieces, my own confidence pieces, it was, well, you should be doing this and you should be doing this and let's create this. I'm like, okay, but I don't feel good in that. My nervous system is still very dysregulated in the thought of those numbers and what I should be doing.
Yeah, the nervous system dysregulation can be a huge piece with that. And first it was like acknowledging that that was a piece, and then doing the steps to actually change that was like another piece.
Yeah. A lot of people don't put that connection together. We're also focused in doing more and doing more and doing more, chasing a strategy, hoping that, it's going to work, but it's not in the doing. Yes, you have to have a strategy in place. Yes, you have to be showing up consistently, but also who are you being? Are you the woman who can handle, 10, 20K months? If you say it, do you contract? For me, it was a contraction. I'm like, okay, there's work to be done because it should be normal and our bodies should be open to receiving, not contracting like, oh my God, this is scary. I can't do this. Who's gonna buy for me? And all of the other thoughts that go through your head, it should be like, okay, I fucking got this.
Yeah. So, what is your current strategy for networking to get in front of potential clients?
So right now, my networking strategy is to jump on networking calls and just share what I do to bring awareness to. So I don't utilize networking for clients. I utilize it for bringing awareness to this topic because it is not something that is talked about, that a lot of women don't put the two pieces together of toxic relationship, business. Business isn't working because of the toxic relationship. So really bringing the awareness to these pieces inside of the networking groups, and it's worked out really well because like I said, it's not talked about. So when I share what it is I do and how I help the women I support, it's oh my God, I know people you need to talk to. Or oh my God, I never put those pieces together.
How have you changed the way that you network over time since you started doing this?
So for me, it's really being more confident in what I do. And for a lot of women, when you start networking, you're very unsure of, your elevator pitch. Well, how do I say what it is I want to say? I'm like, can you just say it? And then you improvise and you expand or you change things. You're like, oh, I don't like the way that sounded. I'm going to change that for next time. And it's an evolution of just showing up and really being you, building connections. We get so caught up in, I've noticed, networking to sell and networking to build authentic connections, create community, create a support. Just be who you are, and the people who need you are going to find you. And if you show up in those networking groups and the people who need you aren't there, well, I'm going to bet the people who are there know the people who need you.
It's a great way of looking at it. Would you say you're more introverted or extroverted, and how does that affect the way that you network?
So I am very much an introvert. And I've learned recently that I come across online as more of an extrovert. And I'm like, it's interesting because we show up when we are in our confidence and in our power, we show up in such a bigger way and a bigger energy that we can come across as extroverted. But I am very much an introvert. I love to hermit and just be alone in my house by myself all of the time. Um, and I've learned to really own what it is that I do so that when I do go into networking events, I'm not just this quiet, shy person who is like, okay, yeah, I help women who have been in toxic relationships grow their businesses online, but I have a mission, I have an impact. Like there are women who need what it is that I do. And if I show up like that, it's such a lower energy. But if I can boldly say, I help women who have been in toxic relationships grow their businesses, it's such a different energy that presents itself that it demands attention.
It does. I know I struggled with my message statement for a long time and I changed it and then I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna memorize it and I'm just gonna use it and then I'm just gonna expand upon it and that has really helped me.
And you get to we get to do the things. That's why, every networking event, every networking meeting is a different way for you to feel into how you want to present yourself and how you want to show up. And it's the beauty of online and social media is every day is a new chance for you to change what it is that you maybe weren't happy with the day before. If you weren't as present online or in that bigger next level, this is my mission energy, well, you get to start that again over the next day.
Do you prefer networking in groups or having more one-to-one conversations?
I like both. I have experienced both. um I thrive in one-to-one environments, so for me that's amazing, but I do enjoy the group as well.
Would you say being comfortable, getting uncomfortable is not so much being comfortable, but getting comfortable with being uncomfortable? Would you say that's part of the entrepreneurial skill set?
100%. You don't achieve your goals inside your comfort zone. You have to be willing to get uncomfortable and stay on that edge of uncomfortable to continue to push forward and hit those goals. Being an entrepreneur is the hardest thing in the world. That's why not everyone does it, because you are constantly evolving, you're constantly pushing the limits of your comfort zone. And when it comes back to the nervous system and the toxic relationship, your nervous system likes comfort. Your nervous system likes being in your comfort zone and is always going to pull you back into that comfort zone. So when you've been in a toxic relationship and your nervous system is already so used to fight or flight, pushing that boundary, this is where the big healing work has to come in, because pushing that boundary of your comfort zone requires you to have a regulated nervous system. But pushing that boundary is going to bring you back into fight or flight and survival so quickly that you have to know how to regulate and, like, in the moment regulate. Because if for me, when my nervous system goes into fight or flight, I have anxiety, like severe anxiety, to the point I will have a panic attack. And when I'm doing something that is pushing me out of my comfort zone, so, for me, even showing up here and doing this 8 months ago would have been like severe anxiety for me. And now I'm okay because I've pushed myself through it. But I've done a few different pieces. I was on a TV show and I instantly was on with doctors and, life coaches that were like big life coaches, experts in marketing. And I panicked. I'm like, oh my God, I'm in this space. Who am I to be here? And all of these things. Well, we're rolling live. And I'm like, okay, I can't panic on screen. Like, this is on TV. This is live. So being able to breathe, breath work is the quickest way to bring your nervous system back into a regulated state. And, just walk myself through it is such an important piece, because you can't just have panic attacks all of the time. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah. Did you invest money either in networking groups or in coaching on networking or just coaching in general or masterminds?
Yeah, I have invested in both. I have been in the online space now for 8-ish years, if not longer. And I've invested in networking groups. I have invested in masterminds. I've invested in one-on-one mentorship group programs. I have spent probably over, well, not probably, I've spent over 30,000 in my own coaching and mentorship to be able to learn the pieces and, expand in certain areas. If there's something I want to dive into, I guess it's probably more because I buy books like crazy. I love reading about all of the things too, so lots.
Yeah, I've spent a fair amount too. Would you say like some of it was more helpful than other things?
hmm I spent over 10,000 on a coach for one-on-one work, and I can tell you, I didn't learn anything from her except how I do not want to show up for my clients.
Yeah, but at least you realize that even
I
if you
got
spent on something that wasn't really a great fit, you learn, okay, what did I learn about myself? What do I not want to do? What do I not want to buy?
That's it. It was okay. Well, I learned a really valuable lesson because this is how I do not want to show up for my clients.
Did you make some unaligned connections that you invested more time than you should have when networking? And what did you learn from that?
I don't know if I've aligned connections from networking. Everyone that I have come into contact with has been pretty sincere and aligned and, willing to support each other, even if it's not in a paid capacity. But definitely unaligned clients I have had, and I've wasted a lot of energy. And I've learned from that because, when we are in the coaching space, we can get so caught up in just wanting to bring a client in, and if it's an unaligned client, it's more draining than anything. So learning to say no to someone you're like, okay, I know you're not aligned, you're not the right fit. This isn't going to work for me. It's such a hard thing to do. Um, but then recognizing how much it does drain you and your energy, you've got to be able to say no.
Yeah, and set those boundaries.
Mhm.
What are your thoughts on tapping into your intuition when networking?
I read energy and energetic connections very, very well. So if you're just there for the sake of being there, but you really don't give a shit about being there, it's something that I can pick up on pretty quickly. And I mean, I've done this for years now. I read a room. Everyone's like, you're quiet. I'm like, I'm observing. I observe people. I observe their energy. I observe how they move, how they talk, and if I want to reciprocate my energy towards them.
Great. Any closing remarks or things you want to add?
If you are a female, you're growing your business in the online space here, you've been in a toxic relationship, don't feel hard on yourself. Give yourself that grace to learn and move forward, but take in the time for your healing and, your self-love. Like, take that time for you because it is so much more needed than you even know or realize. And in the end, it's going to boost your business growth.
Thank you so much.